Hi, this is Winton Churchill with the Barefoot Consultants, and we have a special guest on our Facebook Friday, Jen Stevens. And
Hi.
Jen, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Jen's the executive editor of International Living and the author of the Ultimate Travel Writers Program, which is a great program. She's here with us today wearing her International Living cap to talk about a very cool opportunity. Wish I could participate. That they've got on the table right now for folks who might be interested in test driving a life overseas. They're sending the lucky winner of a contest to Portugal for a month on the house to try the expat lifestyle on for size. And if you have a portable income, which is something, of course, we talk about here at Barefoot Consultants, then you've got the flexibility to do something like that. And if you don't, the arrangements can be made, but it's just a little more difficult. So welcome, Jen. Thanks for taking the time out to come see us today. And tell us a little bit about what IL is up to here.
Yeah, so if you know what International Living is, then you know that we are focused on helping people retire earlier, retire better, travel more richly, and live a more interesting international life. The premise being that you do not have to be wealthy and well-connected to live abroad or spend time abroad. You just need to know how to do it and where to go. And so in the interest of proving that that really is true, we are sending a lucky winner with a spouse or guest for a month to Portugal on the house. We will pay for the airfare. We will put you up in an apartment, and we will give you a stipend. And what we're hoping is that you will in return, not really in return, that's what the prize is. But in addition, we're hoping to have the winner will be somebody who will do a little bit of writing for us, maybe send us some little video postcards, do that sort of thing to help us show our readers what life is really like there and how affordable it can be. And we'll compensate for that separately. That's kind of a separate transaction. But our hope is that somebody will be someone who says, okay, well, I'll take your challenge. I'll see if you really can live well for less overseas, and, kind of help share their story with our, we have about 500,000 readers on our file. So we are hoping that one of you essentially will come and give it a go.
Very good. We have a great question from Kerr. She wants to know if your guest can be your dog.
Well, probably not, only because you would have to, well, it might depend on the dog. If you can figure out the rules for Portugal, if you can get your dog to Portugal, we don't care if your dog is your guest. That's
right.
fine.
That would be the hard
Portugal
part.
Might, but you'll have to see.
Yeah, this could be the beginning of a whole internet career of a dog. I used to follow.
Yeah, well, for sure, just generally speaking, you can bring pets overseas, but it isn't as straightforward as necessarily. The rules depend usually on the country, and you can't necessarily just pop any old dog, any old place. You need to find out the rules of the road ahead of time.
And these days they need to do things like quarantine, which I mean,
sometimes they do. Yeah. And it's usually by country. So the EU has certain rules, and other places. Other rules.
Yes.
So yes, it is generally speaking possible to do. Lots of our correspondents have traveled with their pets and brought them to various countries. So definitely doable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so tell us a little bit about why Portugal.
So, I think there's a perception often among Americans, particularly, that Europe is just really expensive. And if you're going to go take a super, super high-end vacation in Paris, yes, you can break the bank. But, most people live in Europe on a very modest budget and have an extremely high quality of life. And so as long as you're not necessarily in the biggest cities in, the most expensive spots in the world, all over Portugal and France and Spain and Italy and, Croatia and all over Europe, there are wonderful spots where you can really live for much less than it would cost you to live a comparable life in the US. And we have correspondents who are doing that all over. Portugal won our annual Global Retirement Index for 2021. And so that's why we're sending somebody there. It's sort of our number one editorial pick for the best place in Europe to retire right now. And that's a choice we made based on cost of living, weather, amenities, access to healthcare, and so on. And so Portugal, we really like. Our contest winner will be based in the Algarve, which is a beach, the sort of beach area on the south of Portugal. And but you'll have the flexibility to travel around and see other places too. It's kind of on you. It's your month. You do with it what you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, no, that's great. As we were talking just before, my virtual assistant has been in Portugal for about a year now, and she loves it. And lots of members of our Barefoot Consultants programs have spent time there and have actually moved there. And it was interesting just before the pandemic. That was like the hot spot for the year previous. And I know I was itching to go there. I've been to Spain, but I didn't make it to Portugal. And just before the pandemic, May was going to be our month to go to Portugal, and
Right.
I'm looking forward to that being on the schedule again very soon.
Yeah, and it's a place where you genuinely, a couple can live comfortably for, as little as $2,000 a month. And I don't mean living like,
Yeah.
we're not when we do our budgets, we don't suggest that you scrimp and save and get by. We're
Right.
saying like to live comfortably. You might not be in the
Yes.
fanciest apartment known to man. You might not be in the penthouse, but you'll be someplace very
Right.
comfortable, right in town, that sort of thing. You can live quite comfortably, not depriving yourself, having a maid, eating out when you want to eat out a few times a week, for about $2,000 a month. So, that's harder to do here in the US. And so the other advantage to being retired or working remotely from a place like Portugal is that when you're in Europe, you can travel up far afield. So it isn't just that you're in Portugal. You can go see Spain. You can go to France. You're close to everything. And a lot of the folks, I'm sure your members have found that too, that if once you're based in Europe, I mean, it's so easy and affordable to go exploring. And that's kind of a cool thing too. We don't have that so much as Americans because our country's so big, you go to other states, but you don't necessarily go flinging around to other countries as readily. So,
yes. It takes, where I lived in Los Angeles, it took you a lot of times because of traffic, 2 hours to get out of the city. And yes, rents were cheaper out there, but you had a 2-hour commute. But in places where I've lived, like San Miguel, it's just a matter of blocks. And I imagine that Portugal is a lot the same way.
yes.
If you're 5 blocks off the city center, it's kind of high. But if you're 7 or 8 blocks off, the price goes way down. So lots of good options. And this whole idea, and what I like so much about International Living's ratings of different countries, is that this idea of a comfortable living is so doable. And that's one of the things.
Yeah. And that's, that's one of the things we've collaborated on with you over the years too, is this idea of like, if you can live someplace comfortable and bring with you a modest income that you're earning a few hours a week,
right,
that keeps you engaged, but you're also, giving yourself your spending money that you need, that extra cushion,
yes.
And that's very doable, and staying busy too. I think that's one other advantage. And I know that when I've talked to your members and our readers who are members who work with you, that they appreciate that they've got a little something to do. They're not going to be sitting around. They're staying engaged. Their minds are staying quick, and they're also generating some funds they can have fun with someplace interesting.
Yes. Well, let's talk a little bit specifically how this will work. And if you'll bear with me for a moment, let me see if I can get this up on the screen, and I'll kind of scroll through it. Well,
yeah, we've run contests like this in the past, but we haven't for a few years, COVID being part of the reason there. So we thought this would be a fun way to get everybody launched back into the world, so to speak. And I think Portugal, in addition to being just a good choice from sort of the economic and cultural standpoint as a place to check out, I just read in yesterday's Washington Post that they have really conquered the vaccine. I mean, they have something, I want to say it's 85, almost 90%. It's effectively, statistically, 100% of their population is vaccinated. And so things are really opening up there too.
Wow.
So that's, we couldn't have predicted that when we decided to do this this contest, but that is the good news that you'd be
Right. No, that's the
to a
great
place
news.
that
That's
kind
the
of
great news.
has their act together. And no saying what the future will hold, but certainly things are on a good track there for that as well.
Right. Fingers crossed. We have this
Okay.
beaming out to our friends. So it's the Win Your
Okay.
Dream Retirement Overseas. So it just kind of goes through. And of course, there's a YouTube video you can go to. And this is the link. It's the link to this page that's actually in the.
Okay. I can't see it, so I'm assuming you've got it up there. I'm just so yeah. We have a page on the website. We have a little video that tells you all about it. But just to run through how it's going to work, we are going to, you have to send in your application by October 18, 2021. And it's really easy. You just fill in your name and contact information. You answer a few questions, and that's it. We are then going to choose from all of the many entries, hopefully many entries we get. We will choose 20 who will be our top contenders. And then in the month of November, we're going to ask those guys, the sort of round 2, right? The finalists will create a little video, just a 3-minute, 4-minute video about sort of who they are and why they think they should win. We will post those 20 videos and we'll ask viewers to weigh in and see who you like the best. And there we go. Now I can see it. So we'll have people, pick their winners, vote, and then together with our in-house preferences, we will pick a winner. So I think
that's great. So this is a little bit like American Idol, except
a little bit.
Yeah, very good. I like that.
Yeah, the dates are there. So please do. I hope lots of people will enter. I would love to, we're looking for an American who is of retirement age or close to it. Somebody who's maybe thinking, oh, it'd be cool to spend some time abroad, and I wonder if I could really do it. So take it for a spin.
Yes. And so now on the 1st of October, we've got the deadline is Monday, October 18th. So
don't wait. Get your entry in.
Now's a great moment to do that if you want to jump on that. And some of this, I was I was reading this promotion before, and I didn't realize that Portugal is the 4th safest country in the world.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
That's something. Yeah,
that's a big factor for people.
Our correspondent who lives there is going to will kind of take our winner under her care a little bit, and kind of show you around a little bit. And but I think the thing is, what we always hear from the folks who live there, Americans and Canadian expats who are there, is just how friendly and welcoming the Portuguese are. It's just in some ways a very easy place to settle. And where our winner will go on the Algarve, there are a lot of particularly a history of British tourists and expats who've settled there. And so as a result, there's a lot of English spoken. So that's another reason we chose this part of Portugal in particular, just because for someone who's just venturing out, it gives you an easy entree, right? So you're on the beach, you're in an area where there's lots of golf. If you'd like to golf, you can fish, you can sail, you can do all the things you can do at the beach. And then you also have, of course, the freedom to go exploring. And there's lots to recommend Portugal. There are big cities. There are modest-sized cities like Porto. There are all sorts of lovely villages along the coast, the western coast. So you've got a lot to visit.
Yeah, it looks very exciting, and I've talked to a number of people that have lived in Mexico, and they go to Portugal and they just love it, and it feels. It's that Spanish influence, obviously, and a lot of great architecture, a lot of great, well-preserved beaches, and a lot of things to see and do, and a pace of life that is certainly one that people talk about. I mean, from the people that I talk to, that's what they really like about it. There's something just about those streets and those buildings where people have been sailing out of for decades, across the world, and it's just such a magical place.
And good pastries too. Just saying.
Yeah,
they're known for their pastries. So.
That's great.
Go on a diet before you go.
Yes,
you can thoroughly enjoy. Though that's something else actually that expats, folks who retire overseas, always say. Not always, but a remarkable number of people will say, I lost weight going overseas just because I'm not in my car so much. I walk everywhere,
Yeah.
and I didn't really change my, I may change my eating habits to eat the way the locals eat, I suppose, but I mean, it was really the walking, right?
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. Yeah, no, I took a trip to England on a sort of an antiquities tour, and didn't put in the brochure that you'd be walking about 7 miles a day, but yes, it's very helps moderate the pastry, and yeah, very cool.
yeah,
So yeah, Mary, let's see who
I know. Someone's
Jeanette
looking for the
asked for
link.
the link, so I just put it in the chat window, so you'll see it there, and it confirms. So just go ahead and click that link, and be sure and sign up. I mean, you just scroll down and sign up on that, and then
Yeah.
you're entered for it, and life could be good. So
Yeah, it really could. I hope you
yeah,
will. The more entries, the merrier. We're really excited. We love to send kind of regular old folks to go prove that what we talk about at International Living really is true. You can do it.
yes,
And a
yes,
lot of our correspondents started out as just regular folks. You don't need a journalism
yes,
background or anything to win this contest. We as I said earlier, we'd like it if you're willing to do a little writing for us or send us some video back, but we really
yeah.
want this to be an authentic experience for a regular old person who's interested in trying it out. So
Yes,
that's what
well, I
we're
can
looking
be a
for.
testimony to that, because about 14 years ago, as an International Living member, I went to an International Living conference, and you know, told my story about retiring to Mexico, and here we are. So
Here we are, all these years
yeah, yeah.
later.
So it might be winning a contest, but it might be a whole new career too.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, kind of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So any other thoughts on uh I'm sure there's lots of good information on the International Living website about Portugal, and if you want to read
Yes.
about that, you can run over there and
Yeah, there is. And I recommend that you do kind of poke around there. It's internationalliving.com. You up at the top, there's a country tab, and you can just scroll down to Portugal, or you can search for Portugal. We have tons and tons of Portugal information. So I do recommend actually people go and poke around and learn a little bit about Portugal, maybe before you answer the questions about why you want to go. You might sound a little more informed if you
right.
got
Yes.
read a little bit about it first. So we would, of course, the more the merrier in terms of people signing up. But we have lots and lots of good Portugal information, and in fact, the winner won't just get the month away. We have a big Portugal resource that we're going to give you access to as well, that gives you lots of information about Portugal too. But there's a lot of stuff just right up on our website that that will tell you all about the Algarve and the rest of Portugal as well.
Right. There's many sort of beach communities, and there's some that are very much more populated and nightlife and that kind of thing. And then there's others that are tranquil. And then there's, some cool towns just 20 miles from the beach that just like you're living in the 16th century without the Inquisition or whatever going on. So it's
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I mean, it's a
yeah.
really interesting little country, and people really do like it. I mean, expats go there, and then they'll sometimes just go on vacation, and then they'll go pack up for wherever else they were living overseas already and move to Portugal.
Right. Yes, yes.
So
Well, another thing that I kind of pay attention to some genealogy things, and now in the DNA world, lots of people are finding out that they have roots in Portugal. They don't realize what a seafaring nation Portugal was, and really for hundreds of years, Portuguese have been setting off around the world, and that might be another point of interest if you take a DNA test and find out that you have some sort of cousin or something in Portugal. It's not as unusual as you might think to turn up something like that.
right,
So
exactly.
you may have roots.
That's
Very
great.
good.
So yeah, we're going to send this winner sometime in 2022. We'll work with you to figure out the schedule so that we didn't just decide, oh, you have to go this month. Like, we can be
Right.
flexible. So
Yes,
we'll work
yeah.
with your schedule and sort it
Right.
out with you so that the timeline works for you as well.
Yeah,
So,
we're
yeah.
not saying you have to eat here or you have
No,
to
not at all. It genuinely, we're gonna
go on this
send you the
horseback
keys to
ride
the
or anything.
apartment, and we're gonna and Terry Coles, who's our correspondent there, will correspond with you and kind of help get you settled and all that stuff
Right.
too. So
Yeah,
she's
no,
great. She's always having. I always see she posts pictures. Oh, I had lunch with, I had lunch with an IL subscriber who came through, and so she's super
yeah.
friendly and happy to do that. So that'll
Yeah.
be helpful
So
too. You won't be left to your own devices entirely. We'll have some hand holding on the ground for you.
yep. So be sure and go to this link.
There you go. Yep.
It's gobbledygook here, but you can click on it in the chat window and also in the if you head on over and also on over to the International Living site, because as Jen
Yeah.
gave you a little insider look, there's a few questions that might ask you a few things, and if you do a little homework before, you'll be best prepared to answer those
Yes,
questions.
exactly.
So that's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, excellent. All right. Well, with that, we'll bring this to a close. We thank everybody for participating. We'd like to say hi to all the people that watch this on the playback, because we get 95% of our folks. And the answer is you have until October 18th to get this in, but there's no time like the present to jump on it and make it happen. Let's see. Jeanette is saying the link didn't come through. Jeanette, the best thing might be to go to our Facebook page and we'll post it there, because we get a confirmation from Facebook when it does go through, and it looks like it's over there, but it'll take this video a few minutes after we finish it to kind of get going there. So just give it a few minutes and it should be posted there. So we want to thank you, Jen. Look forward to seeing you sometime soon. And
yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Adios.
Adios.
Thanks.